It might seem obvious that leaders must lead, however, often they don't. They've been given the leader title, or they're now a director, but effectively they're still managing, not leading. Remember, you can't be a leader if your team don't want to follow you. I'm Mike Harris and I help businesses to successfully grow their profit and turnover. In the last year alone, I have helped over 20 companies at least double in size. And I work with a mixture of firms for small, medium and large businesses, including startups and multinationals. Up till now, we have focused on the strategy part of the Leaders in Strategy podcast title. But now we're going to up the ante and we're moving on to the leaders part of Leaders in Strategy. And what better way to start than by looking at what makes a great leader? So I thought I'd start by taking you back to the early 2000s, and I've spoken about this before on a couple of podcasts. So I just finished a major project in Edinburgh and I've been asked to manage a similar project in Birmingham. But to be honest, I wasn't particularly keen on doing the project because I felt the role was very similar to the one I'd just done. Ultimately, I decided if I was going to go and run the project in Birmingham, I was going to use it as an opportunity to learn about leadership in order to progress my thinking and progress my career. To be honest, I read a lot of good books on the subject, but a lot of them were very theoretical and not necessarily very practical. So what I'm going to do today is take you through what I learned in practice and what has held me in good stead ever since. So these are the 10 steps to great leadership. And because I like a good gimmick, this is how I tackle this within my workshops. To make it easier to remember, these 10 steps spell out the word leadership. So firstly, lead. It might seem obvious that leaders must lead, however, often they don't. They've been given the leader title, or they're now a director, but effectively they're still managing, not leading. Remember, you can't be a leader if your team don't want to follow you. So the second is enthusiastic. To be a leader, you must inspire people, and it's much easier to do this if you have a positive mindset. People are much more likely to follow you if you're proactive about where you're taking them. Being enthusiastic is motivating. You need to be enthusiastic about your vision and your strategy. Remember, if you're not enthusiastic about these things, why should your team be? 3, a visionary. Obviously, I've cheated here to be able to fit in visionary. Leaders must envision the future. They must have a vision of where they want to take people, an ambition for the future, a clear idea of where they want to be, and a pathway of how to get there. They identify opportunity and set a clear direction for the organisation. And remember, it's hard to take people on a journey if you don't know where the destination is. 4, driven. Driven to achieve the vision. Driven to succeed. Driven to see it through. Mental focus and confidence are really important to being a leader. There will be times when it becomes very difficult and you may even wish to give up, but a good leader will not bow to the pressure. They will keep going and will see it through. So remember, your job is to succeed despite the problems, not fail because of them. 5, exciting. Make your vision exciting. You need your team to be motivated, want to get up in the morning, and for them to be champions of your cause, advocates of your vision. And you can do that if you make your vision exciting. But just something to remember, someone once said to me, but Mike, it's always exciting with you, but will it be fun? So as well as exciting, make sure it's fun. 6, relatable. Your team must be able to relate to you. So don't be arrogant, be visible. Don't sit away in an ivory tower. Be approachable, have an open door policy, and don't be frightened to be vulnerable. Your team also need to be able to relate to your vision and strategy. So they need to be able to relate to what you're trying to achieve and why. And that's because they need to be able to understand why you, and therefore they, are doing what they're doing. And also make sure you get and act upon any feedback. So remember, it's easier for people to believe in you and your vision if they can relate to both. 7, strategic. Obviously, after all, I've just spent the last 16 episodes talking about the importance of strategy in leadership. So one of the first things that I found when I was looking at leadership back in the early 2000s was the importance of strategy. It's hard to be a leader if you don't have a strategy. So leaders possess the ability to think strategically. Remember, you need to be able to envisage the finishing line, allowing you to be able to start with the end in mind. 8, helpful. At a macro level, i.e. at the kind of business or organisation or department level, you need to make sure that what you are seeking to achieve, where you're taking your team, will make things better for both them and for the business overall. And at a micro level, i.e. for them personally, you need to be supportive, always willing to help. And you can do that maybe through coaching, mentoring, etc. So remember, if you're not helping your team, why would they want to help you? Innovative. Now, I will admit that innovation isn't always required, but I have generally found it to be very important. Leaders need to be able to see the benefits of change, have the courage to carry them through. They need to embrace challenges and find innovative solutions. So remember, strong leadership is needed most in times of big change. And last but not least, people focused. At the end of the day, leadership is all about people, motivating, inspiring, empowering, creating a culture of collaboration and trust where people feel valued, creating the environment of autonomy and accountability. So remember, it's hard to lead people if they're not a big part of your focus. So there you have it, the 10 steps to great leadership. And so, in summary, these are what I believe are important if you want to be a successful leader. 1, lead. It seems obvious, but to be a leader, you must lead. Enthusiastic. If you're not enthusiastic about your vision and your strategy, how can you expect your team to be? A visionary. Have a vision of the future. It's hard to take people on a journey with you if you don't know where you're going. Driven. Mental focus and confidence are important. Your job is to succeed despite the problems, not fail because of them. Exciting. By making your vision exciting, you will make your team advocates and champions. Relatable. It's easier for people to believe in you and your vision if they can relate to both. Strategy. It's hard to be a leader if you don't have a strategy, so start with the end in mind and think strategically. Helpful, make sure you are supportive, making things better for your team. Innovative, strong leadership is needed most at times of change. Embrace challenges and find innovative solutions. And lastly, people focus. Leadership is about people, motivating, inspiring, and empowering them, making them feel valued. As I say, that is what I believe are the 10 steps to great leadership. And conveniently, they spell out the word leader just to make it easier to remember. So, as you know, I like to set some homework. And today's homework is look at leadership in your organisation, including looking at yourself. Turn the 5 steps to great leadership into a scorecard. Assess yourself and your business against that scorecard. See where you're strong and where you have weaknesses. Then think about how you will address those weaknesses. Let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear from you. And by means of follow-up, if you've got any questions or comments about leadership in general or about those 10 steps, I'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe by clicking the bell icon, and share with your colleagues who may be eager to develop their leadership skills. So where can you find us? You can watch us on the Leaders and Strategy YouTube channel, listen to us on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podchaser. We upload these episodes onto my LinkedIn page and also onto the Strategist Consulting website. So I hope you've enjoyed today and you come back for the next episode. I'll see you then. Thank you.